Hey, welcome back. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining the bench. I hope you're all well. So today on the bench I have a unit shipped in from a viewer. Now I normally don't take items shipped in. It's really against my rule, but in this case I made an exception because I felt for the guy. He wanted me to do some work for him, and I told him many times I wouldn't do it, but I gave in. I caved. Okay, so this is the reason why I don't do this very often. Here, let me show you. So this is what he paid to get this to my house. Almost $100 from Frankfort, Indiana. Yeah, that's Indiana, isn't it? IN, I'm pretty sure. I know my states, I hope. 94.30, $100 to ship this to my door. Now I shipped the same identical item to him earlier in the year, and it didn't cost me $100. It was something like $60, I think, from Canada Post. But look what Canada Post and the Canada Customs Agency did here. They tacked on another $23.41 just for the courtesy of them handling the package. And this is why I have a real problem with shipping things across border, is because of this. Now the reason this is $23.41 is because the owner put down on the declaration $200 value. So the tax man looks at this $200 and assesses me a fee of $23.41 based on this $200. Now, I'm not advocating for cheating the taxes or anything like that, but if you mark this down to a number that's more reasonable, like $50 or $60, this number won't appear. So just something to keep in mind. This might be worth $200 to you, but it's not worth $200 in the real world. It's only worth less, maybe a quarter of that. Now, it's all good. I don't know. I could actually go after them and say, look, I repaired the machine, I sent it back to the States, refund me my $23.41, but I'd have to jump through hoops. I'd have to prove it was shipped, and it's more hassle than is what it's worth, to tell you the truth. And then they might just assess me half of what I paid. They might give me back the GST, which is $13.50 or so, and they might keep the fee of $10. So, yeah, this is the world we live in today. We can't be doing this kind of trade with these kind of rules in place. Hopefully, we get some new leadership in these countries, and we can do something about this inflation and these costs. And another reason I don't want doing it is because I have no idea the condition of items people are sending me. Like, I'm really not in a repair shop, so I'm very selective on what I take in, and depending on its condition, for all I know, this could not be repairable. And then all that money was wasted shipping it here just to learn that it's beyond repair. So looks like there's a note here for me. I'm going to read that off camera, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so let's go through this letter. It says, I can't thank you enough for looking at my old reel-to-reel tape deck. As you most likely could tell from my email, this deck and I go back a long way. So it just goes through the issues. Your main issues that I know of: play button does not go down far enough to engage the motor run switch. There's a small piece of wood that I use to push it down far enough to play. I have not tested it in record mode to see if it would still record while using the piece of wood for this switch. The fast forward rewind motor runs, but the button has to be pressed down very hard to get the reels to move, and I'm afraid doing so in the past has caused the linkage to loosen, and that may be the cause of the issue with the play button. I don't know. Power cord, microphone are installed. There's little cup with some screws that he took apart. Okay, and then he's asking about bringing out signals from the machine to use externally. One thing I was wanting to try and do is bring the connections for the erase and record heads out to a separate set of switches. I want to try and experiment with multi-sync recording, and I have an old TP-724 that I will use the electronics from to run the second set of erase heads, record head channels, and thoughts on this. Okay. Alright, well, let's get it running good first. So let's have a look at it. I got criticized last time I did an unboxing, and I can't believe some people would complain about an unboxing. Didn't do it right, or didn't have the right speed, or didn't hold the knife properly. Some people, I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I'll keep my comments to myself. So it's well packed, very well packed, and let's pull it out. And there it is. I don't know if you recognize this from a previous video, but this is a AIWA deck, and we did one of these before. This one looks complete. It's just dirty. What's all this? This is just packing. Packing. And a couple cups with some screws. Okay, no problem. And an empty reel. So this is the TP-724 that I did on the previous video. I can't remember the episode number, but I'll go back and put a link to it. Needs a good clean, that's for sure. Okay, so he's got screws out. I'll just clean up here and then we'll put some power to this and see what it does or doesn't do. Okay, so the screws are already taken out for me. I just have to remove the DC-in jack, the voltage selector, and the AC-in jack to get it separated from the bottom half of the shell. And then I can send the shell for cleaning. It needs desperate cleaning. Getting a lot of the green ooze. I don't know if you can see this. This is a microphone. It's got green ooze on the one connector. I don't know if I can do anything about that. Let's clean it up, I guess. But it seems like the plastics are turning to ooze. And this might be turning green too. No, maybe not. But I see a few spots where the vinyl's turn green. So I'm going to get this separated and start cleaning things up and start working on it. Okay, looking at this, condition's not too bad. It looks pretty good condition. It's just dirty, very dirty. Yeah, there's a lot of dirt here and all over. If I flip it over, you'll see it's not. It's very dirty under here too. Looks like some of the foam that they used in the case disintegrated and turned to dust. But everything looks good. No broken plastics. Everything looks intact. And looks like everything here is workable. So probably what I'm going to do is I'll start by just pulling out these boards and recapping them just to start, just to get those old caps out of there. Now I remember from the last one I did, those caps were done. This is at that age. This is I don't know what age this is, early 70s maybe, I don't know. But we're gonna make sure it's working before we return it to the guy. So yeah, I'll start with that, start with caps, and then we'll work our way onto the mechanicals and get those working. Alright, so I finished the recap, and just let me say this, it was necessary. A lot of these caps were double their value, or some of them even triple their value. I had one cap that was 4 times its value in microfarads, and well, that's a failed cap, obviously. But they have Elnas in here. The Elnas held up the best, but these other mishmash brands, just some Nichicons in here, and here's some looks like Fox brand. I've never heard this one before. Really wild, some of these caps. And it was it NTK. Yeah, all these caps have failed. They're all out of tolerance by 20% or more. So yeah, they had to go. Now, what I want to do now is I want to remove the plastic cover that's on the front controls, and that's done by removing some screws back here. And then you have to desolder the speaker. Otherwise, I think it's glued in, so it's easier just to desolder it, and we'll remove the cover, and I think the meter too has to be disconnected. And then I can flip this over. I can start working on mechanicals. What I'll do is I'll service the motor, and I'll service this motor as well. I believe they're both working. They're not seized up or anything. But I'll give the motors a service. I'm not going to do that on camera, just to save time here. And let me bring you back in when we're starting to get the mechanical. When we start to do the mechanical tests and see what else is wrong with this thing. I think the biggest problem was the capacitors. That's probably, I don't know if the amplifiers are working or not, but I assume they weren't. So I'll bring you back in when there's something else to talk about. So I'm just here working my way through the mechanicals, lubricating everything. I did these. These are spinning very nice now. Still, I did the motor. The motor's done. Put it back in. Now I'm focusing on the capstan and the flywheel. I'm trying to get it out. You can't take it out from the bottom because there is a pulley on the shaft that's hidden by this plate. And I also need to take the take up and supply reels off to lubricate that as well. But I hit a problem here. These screws are glued in at the factory with that brown glue that they use on everything. It's smeared everywhere here, and there's no way to break these screws loose. So it's time to break out the heat, and we're going to heat these screws up and see if we can get them out. Gotta make sure you don't burn anything that's in the vicinity. Put all your flammable liquids away. Just gonna put some good amount of heat on this screw. That should be good. And it should come right out. It's still playing stubborn. No, it needs more heat. Let's give it a good blast. If you don't use the heat, you're just going to end up stripping the screw, probably end up drilling it out. It's just a huge pain. You just want to get it hot enough so that the glue kind of melts and wants to start breaking down. Usually if you watch, you can see it start to bubble, and that's the point where it's let go. Okay, I think that might be good. I'm still playing hardball. Give it a little tighten, a little loosen. No, I'm going to have to really go crazy with the heat here. Because all I'm doing is just stripping out the Phillips. Just want to make sure you're not damaging any rubber components. There we go. Starting to get some smoke. Okay. Does not want to let go. There it is, finally. And those are tough. So I'll end up replacing these because these are damaged now. I'll do that for the other two, and then I can remove this plate. Okay, since we're waiting for this to cool, it's kind of hot now. I heated everything up. Let's just remove this. So I took out the E-clip off this shaft, and I'm going to remove this. Everything's quite hot. Oops, dropped the spring. Of course, that always happens. And I'm looking at this head here. It's quite dirty. Let me see if I can get a good look at this. I got a flashlight here. We can light it up. If you can see it, the wear isn't too bad. Seems the erase head's in good shape. and the playback record head is not too bad. Let's clean it up a bit and see how that looks after. Some alcohol. I'm just using alcohol here. Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of dirt on there. Same with the erase head. This whole tape path here that's got a lot of wear on that one, so we might have to spin that around a bit. Quite a bit of wear here too. Oh yeah, there's quite a bit of wear on that. I can feel it. So what I do in that situation is just take it and give it a quarter turn and just put it onto fresh surface, part that hasn't been worn down yet, and then we can continue on and get more life out of everything on the head assembly. Same with this side. You can just take it, loosen it off, give that sleeve there a quarter turn, and give it fresh material to ride on. The chrome is missing and it's right down to the brass. It's worn, which isn't a problem. Okay. Another thing I want to do is lubricate this. This is not spinning very good at all. So once I pull away the head block assembly, I can take the flywheel out the bottom. And here's the flywheel. It's got that pulley on here. It's got a bearing here. This bearing looks quite dirty, and looks like the lubrication's failed. It's all brown and sticky. Same with this side. Looks like they had some kind of a felt or something glued here. It's long since perished. It's probably just to keep it from ringing, I'm guessing. That's probably the only reason they would put it on there. But we can go without some trash. So I'll keep this cleaned up and ready for putting back in. The belts in this thing are actually pretty good condition. I'm going to run with them. There's no point in changing these belts. This one's a special fabric rubber covered belt, and it's kind of unique to this tape player, so that's good condition. I'm going to clean it, give it a good clean. This belt here is a round belt. This is for the tape counter, this one here. And on the bottom we have a big square belt, and this belt is the one that drives from the motor to the flywheel, and it's in good condition too. I'll probably just clean these up and run with them. There's still lots of life left in them. As far as the bearings go, they're all filthy, and the grease is starting to get petrified. I'll disassemble this, clean this. This is the bottom of the flywheel, and then I'll have to clean this bearing here. This one here is the top bearing for the flywheel. It's filthy too. And then I'll go through and re-lubricate everything. This old grease is starting to show its age. And then there's a filth around here. I'll have to clean up the deck. It's quite filthy with tape oxides and whatnot. And then we'll address this pinch roller. Pinch roller needs to be removed. You can see, look at how the angle of this pinch roller looks like something's bent here. This is bent down. So that pinch roller is actually, show you if I can show you this. This is important. This is probably a big defect in this machine right now. Is the pinch roller is not lined up with the head, the tape path. You can see where the tape path comes from this side left to right, and then the pinch roller is at an angle. That's no good. We got to straighten that out and get this thing running good again. Probably what that was doing was crinkling tape. If it's too far bent on an angle like that, it can crinkle the tape as it goes by, because the tape is forced to bend as it goes past the pinch roller, and that's something you want to avoid. This pinch roller has to be in line with the tape path. So I encountered another little problem that is probably plaguing the owner, is this switch here, this leaf switch. Now when I press play, it's to engage this set of contacts up here. There's two contacts, one normally closed, one normally open. So when I engage the play, I can see light through those contacts. They don't even make connection. And I can prove it here with my continuity meter. Okay, so let's see if we can get this to make continuity. Connect these up and then we'll press play. See how it's not quite making connection? So like, yeah, the motor won't even spin. So what I'm going to do, it's really easy. You just loosen the screws and reposition the switch. There's two screws here. Or I could even bend it. What if I just bend it a little? Because it is bent away. Let's try this now. One thing you want to make sure is that the switch is making connection. Okay, here we go. No. Okay, let's adjust it. Loosen this screw and this one. Well, let's just give it a little bump. Just gonna give it a little tap this way. No, it's not moving. I'm not sure. I think we're making contact now. I think we're making contact now. Let me try with the continuity. Okay. No, we're still ever so slightly. I have to clean those contacts too, but I'm gonna move it, keep adjusting it till it makes connection. And what I'm doing is I'm just removing that glue, and this stuff here, this non-flammable contact cleaner, this stuff is it has, what is it? Tetrachloroethylene. That's dry cleaning solution. And what that does, you spray that on there and it just turns it into a gel. Like, just put a little bit on and just let it soak. And it turns this glue into like jelly, and you can just peel it off. But you got to be careful. This fluid can also damage plastics, so you got to be careful with where you put it. But that makes the job of removing this glue a lot easier. But anyways, I want to talk about this flywheel and this capstan. If you look here, there's a little dimple in the top here where it rides in the bearing, and the bearing being this here, right, this hole. And I'm pretty sure there should be a ball bearing in there, but it's missing. Now, it might be okay without it, but I think if I remove this cap, there's a little steel plate, and I think that's a bearing surface, and I think there should be a ball bearing in there, in that little socket there, a little tiny ball bearing. I think somebody's had this apart before, because this has been done. Somebody slotted one of the screws because they couldn't get it to turn. They stripped the Phillips socket, and then they went to another method of just cutting a slot in it with a Dremel, it looks like. And that wasn't me. So somebody did have this bearing holder off, and maybe that ball bearing got lost. I don't know. I'm going to see what I have in my parts drawer. I got lots of old bearings and stuff. I can probably take one apart, get a little ball out of it, put it back in. I'm just going to play around cleaning this stuff off. Yeah, this does a really good job of removing this old glue. And I've used this same stuff on the same cleaner on printed circuit boards, and it does a good job there too. But it also wants to remove every other plastic and ink that's, see, it's removing the ink. You see where it's pretty thick here. So I'm going to clean this up and then I'll get it back together. Alright, here's a look at the pinch roller. I straightened this bracket, or this lever, whatever you want to call it. And it's a lot better now. If you can see how the pinch roller aligns with the tape path now. It's not crooked. That's one thing you got to watch for. All these posts, this post, this post, this post, they all have to be perpendicular to each other. And things get bent. So you have to look at it from different angles and see. Even that doesn't look great. It looks like it could go a little this way. Yeah. That is not... You can see how it is. Yeah, I'll have to do some more straightening on that. This deck has these goofy spring clips that you see, these ones here. Panasonic uses these too. They love using them things. These are got to be the worst things created. And they're a spring clip that clamps onto the shaft. And there's probably some kind of special tool that you can get that spreads them for you to open it up. And then when you slip it on, I don't know, I don't have it, so getting these off is pretty difficult. I usually try prying them off, but then that can distort them and ding up the shaft, so I try to avoid that. I've tried the snap ring pliers, but they don't seem to work very good. They're not made for this because they always slip out. But putting them back on, I found a little technique I like. You just get a normal screwdriver, and it's got to be a flat screwdriver that has a tapered shank like that, and you just put it on there like that, and you get yourself a pair of pliers or needle nose or something. Push it down onto the wedge more, and it opens it up, and then you can just place it on the shaft, and you just pull the screwdriver out, and there it is, it's on. So yeah, these things aren't very good. If you take them off, put them on too many times, you can actually wear the shaft down in the inside of, and then they don't grip anymore. And then what do you do? But yeah. So the screwdriver trick works even on the smaller ones. You just get a smaller screwdriver, right? And you see these a lot in cassette decks in the 80s. You know, that kind of stuff. So I'm just putting things back together. I got to get some new screws to secure this deck down, this plate, and then we're going to start testing. Okay, if you remove the end cap of this bearing, there's this plate, right? And then there's this steel, looks like made of spring steel. It's blue. It's like a disc, okay? And then there's a hole. The bearing's pushed in there. Oh, it's a bushing actually, and look at that. That is not good. The ball bearing was missing when I got this because there was no ball bearing in there. Now, looking at this, I could tell that it ran for a while with a ball bearing. See the dot in the center, and then it was ran for a bit without a ball bearing, and you can see the circles around it. So what I did is I sacrificed a little ball bearing, and I think it's like a 3 or 4 millimeter shaft, and 10 millimeters across, or 8, something like that. I'm just going to use one of these, and we're going to go. I just want to see if this will fit. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I'll get that lubed up and then put that cap back on. Okay, I was just going through checking mechanical function of all the buttons and switches here, and I was putting it into record mode, and it didn't seem like this switch here. There's a long switch with about 20 connectors on each side for switching between record and playback. So it sets up the amplifiers, and it doesn't look like it's It's really stiff to push, and it wasn't moving properly with the controls. So I'm going to have to remove this switch now and take it apart, disassemble it, clean it, re-lubricate it, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It's got a really stiff feel to it. It's difficult to move. And then the lever's pushing on it. Don't want to move it. Also, I noticed here. There's one capacitor. It's a Mylar. It looks like. It's got a big crack on the side, and then the foils are exposed. I'm going to replace that cap, and then I'll pull these other two and test them. They might be okay. They might not be. I'll test them all three of those, and replace them as necessary. And that's it for this. I got the bearings set up properly. There's a little 0.5 millimeter play on the bottom there. It's resting on the ball bearing now, so everything's good that way. This will be inverted, obviously, so that's the way that works. Well, let me start by desoldering this. This is going to be a challenge, getting this all apart. There's wires in here in my way, and everything is a mess. And then get that switch out and we can service it. This switch is actually in pretty good condition, but I'm not going to clean it. I'm just going to lubricate it with some deoxit. This part here I'm going to take apart and lubricate this a little bit. So it's good news. I'm going to put it all back together. Okay, I think I'm making some headway here. Got it all back together. Just going through the chassis and lubricating slide points, push points, all that stuff. There's a lot of grease that was, somebody sprayed some kind of grease in here and was just in everything. So, and it was collecting crumbs and dust and crap. So I cleaned it all out. And just put lubrication where it's needed, only on those points. So your stop button here, its only function is to, I don't know if you can see it here, there's a bar that lifts underneath. And what that bar does when you pull it back is it unlatches the other three keys. Okay. Now, fast forward, press fast forward, we see that this idler engages with the take-up reel, okay, and also the brake releases. Now this motor drives this tire, which this tire drives this take-up reel, and that's how that works. So we're in fast forward mode, and looks like it's all working. Okay, let's go rewind. Same thing, but on the other side, this tire engages with this supply reel, and the motor comes up and from underneath and engages with that. So that's going, and then our take counter's taken off the supply reel. Play does a number of things. It brings up the capstan, or the pinch roller, and the felt pads for the heads. Okay. And engages the pinch roller onto the capstan. Also, it releases the two brakes so that we're in play mode. Now the motor is turning the flywheel underneath here. This flywheel has a pulley under it, and this belt is driving the take-up reel. So as the flywheel turns, it's going to turn this way and turns the take-up reel. Now record. I don't know if you can see here, it's kind of, I'll reposition the camera. I don't know if you can see under here, but this is the switch on the main printed circuit board. And when you press record, this tang comes down and engages on that switch. Okay, and then when you press play, the switch gets pulled back. Otherwise, if I release it and just hit play, you can see that it goes back without engaging that switch. But hold down the record and it pulls it back. Now this feels really weird because it's something loose here. I think I know what it is. These two screws here are yeah, these screws are loose. They're not supposed to be. Okay, I'll tighten those down. Let's see how this works now. think all the mechanicals are working, so it now is to power it up. Well, I still need to put these felts on, the pads. I haven't done that yet. Load it up with the tape, and let's put power to it, see how it works. I'll connect up a bench speaker. I think we're ready to test. All right, first power up. Let's try this out. Got a bench speaker connected. Let's see what we get for consumption for right off the bat. Plug this in. You hear the relay clicking. I don't know if that's normal or not. 1.7 watts relay clicks. I don't think the relay should be clicking. Now one of these, this switch here I think is the tape speed, and the other one is the AVC. Okay, so let's try fast forward. It's not latching. And I think I know why it's not latching, because there's a screw missing here in this one corner. Okay. So we have to do this something with this motor. Let's try yeah, we just need a little bit of more. I was looking at this earlier and it's really sloppy, and looks like it needs to be tightened up and probably adjusted. Okay. I just got a sliver in my hand from something. Okay, play. Okay, I can hear out of the speaker at full volume. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a tone control. That's working. Volume control is working. It's kind of noisy. It's really noisy. Okay, let's load a tape up and see how it plays. So I got some Audio Magnetics brand, low noise, professional quality magnetic recording tape. 1800 feet. It's new, tensilized. Now I have no idea what's on this. There's nothing written on it. But I have a guarantee. So let's put this tape on. Ooh, it's got a header and everything. Okay. All right. This might be side B, I don't know. Okay. I think we're all lined up. Okay. Here we go. guess this is the tape speed. Now, there is a collar that goes on the capstan. Where is it? It is a, put this on for changing speeds. Let's see how this works. That sounds more like a correct speed. This actually sounds pretty good. Looks like we got 2-channel sound here. I don't know which is left or right. See if fast forward works. Yeah, we're gonna have to fix that fast forward rewind. Yeah, it's struggling. Okay. So I got a good idea of what's going on. Everything's working except for fast forward rewind. Let's look at that motor and see what we can do for it. Okay, so what's going on here? This yoke or this lever is bent. You can see it's bent up on this one side. I think somebody was trying to adjust it for to make it come up earlier, or actually make it travel farther when this button is pressed. You can see it doesn't go very high at all. It just barely comes up. So that might be a problem there. We have to bend this back. If I bend it back though, it probably won't even come up at all. So let's try bending this back. Straighten this yoke out. There. Still, it's not doing anything. Now another problem is we got some slop here in this shaft. There's a spacer. I think there needs to be more spacer to push the yoke that way. You see how much slop there is? So I might take that apart and add a washer in there just to get rid of that slop. And then I think we might have to bend up one of these tabs. It doesn't look like, it looks to me like this one's bent somehow. It's pushed that way. If you look at the, you can't really see it here, but if you look at this one, it's a lot farther than this one is. Yeah. Might be something, there might be an adjustment for this, I don't know. Could be a loose screw, like I've seen a few loose screws around here. First I'm going to shim this pivot point, and then I have a screw out. I have these 2 screws out, that's why this is all flopping around. I might remove the motor and just try and see if I can, maybe I can try raising the motor up a little by shimming it or something. I'll think about that. Alright, so I went through this mechanism here. Everything's fine. I disassembled this pin and I put a shim in behind it. 12, actually I measured 16 thousandths of an inch gap and I put a 12 thousandths of an inch shim, so there's still 4 thousandths. And it's a lot better now. It's not as sloppy as it was. It's holding up better. Now another thing I noticed is these wheels, these tires, they need to be no slack in them, because when the motor comes up, then the wheel just rides up on it and it doesn't work. So I gotta move these 2 clips down farther so there's less end play in this. See, they both have play, so I have to move those 2 clips down. I'm gonna make sure it's lubricated properly. There's a steel spring washer on here that's supposed to be like a bearing, I guess. Now pushing this, if I push the button down farther, it works. You see right here, this lever needs to be bent another millimeter. But first I'm going to adjust these 2 clips, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I removed the slack on these 2, and they're a lot better. they won't come up as high now when the motor is tilted up. So let's try the right. We still got troubles here. If I press the button farther, no problem. Okay, left. Well, this one's working now. It's got good torque. Okay, so I'm going to bend down here and grab a pair of needle nose, and we are going to make an adjustment. Let me unplug this for a second. Don't want the motors going. Let's push this out. I'm just going to grab it with the needle nose if I can. I can't. What I'm going to need to do is bend it with a screwdriver. Okay. How am I going to do this? Let me see what I can do here. Jam this in there. There. That's a bit of a bend. Let's see how that worked. We're getting closer. Just needs a little bit. Just a little bit more. I'm going to bend it a little bit more. Very close. It's almost there. Just wondering if I could bend here a little bit. I'm just going to bend this part a little bit more. Bend it up a little. Try that. Not quite. Not far enough. Just have to go through and keep tweaking this and that until it works. Really don't have room to work here. Okay. This is barely. This one's worn down a little bit more. And it looks like, yeah, it's, you know what, it's bent up. That's what the problem is. Let me try bending that back down. It's really hard to get in here. Just going to give it a little. Need another pair of pliers. Do we need? There we go. Okay. Let's see how that works. Perfect. No, it's not good enough. It's not enough. That side's good. This side's slipping too much. Part of the big problem is the motor has these rubber ends and they're all worn off, and there's no real way to replace them. I'm going to keep playing with it till I get it perfect. Okay, a little bit more bending on this tab and it works perfect now. It's got torque. Not the best torque, but it's going to work better. Let's load a tape up and try fast forward rewind. Okay, tape's loaded. Fast forward. Rewind. Yeah, it's going to struggle. I don't know who this is. This might be as good as it gets for this old machine. Okay. It's full volume. It's actually pretty loud. Controls are nice and clean. How come this neon lamp is on? Thought that was record light. Do we have a problem? I thought this lamp came on when the erase oscillator was running and it provided a high voltage to the lamp. I'm not sure. Don't have any documentation on this thing. It must be left and right. So you can listen to one track or the other, but not both. I don't like that when it's fast forwarding, rewinding, the tape is stuck to the heads like that. That's not cool. Just, it adds wear to the machine. But this isn't a high-end machine. This is meant to be a portable tape machine, I guess. I wonder what these things cost new. $1970, I'm betting it's about 200 bucks. Poor motor. Might need some more adjustment. Anybody recognize this? Do you think YouTube content will get it? It's got a lot of wow and flutter. I don't know. Side A.
If I had it all, could I make it?
Okay, just going through doing some more testing, and I ran into another problem. Problem is, a little bit of grease on that wheel. Problem is the tape is not being tracked properly through the capstan roller, and it gets derailed. Let me demonstrate here. I don't think I have the pinch roller aligned properly. It's still not perfectly vertical. I don't know if you can see in this video. Let me try. Turn this down. Let me try with this wooden stick. The tape is getting pulled through from the head and the pinch roller, and the top of the tape is slack. You see that? The bottom is tight. It's getting pulled through, but the top is got some slack to it. So I don't think I have the pinch roller exactly aligned perfectly. So I'm gonna have to go through and do some more of that. Let me try taking this roller off. I don't think it's gonna make any difference. Adjust the speed here. You can see there's slack on top. And sometimes the tape just crawls right out from between the two of these and gets underneath and gets jammed up and crinkled. So I'm going to have to remove this arm and make sure it's perfectly straight. It might be flexing under load too, a little bit. Might have to compensate for that. Now I tried flipping the pinch roller over. Didn't seem to make any difference. It's still loose. Okay, let me play around with this and then see if I can get this sorted. Other than that, it's actually working pretty good. Another thing I need to work on is the fast forward. It's still not engaging. Unless I press the button down fully, then it takes off. So I still have a little bit of adjustment to do on the mechanicals for that fast forward, and I'll get that done as well. Okay, here's to show you what's going on with this capstan and pinch roller. I took this arm out and I made sure it was absolutely perpendicular to the capstan shaft. But I think what happens was once the roller engages, it flexes and pushes back or tilts back. There's some slop in this bearing here. And if you look, if you watch here, you see the whole plate flexes and moves. It's moving this way. Or which way is it going? The roller's coming back like this. So when I gauge it, watch what happens. The roller climbs up. See? If I put the clip back down and then hold the roller there, watch what happens. It's not doing it now. But the tape climbs out and it goes down. The roller climbs out and wants to go up. See? Like that. So I need to figure out, the roller wants to climb up. I have to think about how this is working here. I think it actually needs to go in more. Let me remove this tape. So I'll try the fast forward rewind again. Still not there. I did make some adjustments. I bent things and it's just about there, but it's not there yet. Great. Okay, rewind. Let's try rewind. Rewind's working not too bad. It's actually pulling pretty good. It's the fast forward that still needs work. Okay. I'm going to make some more adjustments to this and see if I can get it perfect. Alright, I think I finally got it dialed in. Let's try this. Tape is running through the path correctly. I'll turn this noise off. Seems like it's going good. Okay, fast forward. Ah, my brakes. Now I'm going to fix this mess. Where did it come from? It came from here. Oh boy. Okay, another trouble I'm having is this brake on the supply reel is not holding. And when you're doing fast forward and you come to stop, it just kind of keeps going. There's a lot of inertia here. The rewind one works. Stops instantly. Fast forward, not so much. See this one, this brake here. So I need to get this brake adjusted or cleaned. And it's just a matter of this little rubber. Yeah, it's kind of, I could take that, clean that, but it looks kind of worn. Oh, it's hard too. I think I can just take this clip off and turn this rubber probably about 90 degrees and put it back on, and then it'll be like a brand new shoe or brake. So I'll do that, and then I think we're done. I think everything's adjusted and working properly now. And start putting it back in the case, and then we'll do our final test. Okay, I got it all back together. Now that was fairly straightforward, putting it all back. Just a matter of putting the case back on. Let's do a final test. Press play. I got this tape had a lot of splices at the beginning, so that's why I fast forward through a lot of that crap. The splices were falling apart and the tape was coming undone, so I threw a lot of that tape in the garbage, but there were still a couple more splices that were holding, so I went past them. So let's try this out.
Where the nightingales are singing and the bright moonbeams.
It's got pretty good fidelity. That's a track that's recorded in reverse.
I'll be going down that long, long trail with you.
I don't know if this is copyright material or not. I don't know. Fast forward. It's working splendid. Rewind. I'm still having troubles with tape path. The tape wants to stretch on the bottom and bunch up on the top. It's not normal it does that. I think it's just I'm playing old tapes here from the 50s. So I'm going to try it out with a good tape, a good known tape, and I'm going to see how that performs. I have a feeling it's going to be okay. But other than that, this thing's ready to go. Just going to wait for it to finish rewinding here. And then we can, I'll load up another tape and we'll try that one. Yeah, this one had a splice in it too. I just want to get rid of some of this beginning. There it is. See? The old tape is dried up and hardened, the adhesive, and it doesn't hold anymore. Here's the Here's the splice tape. It's just a little piece of cellophane that's turned yellow and hard. Okay, let me load up another one. Okay, here we go. I got a Maxell tape loaded. It's a UDXL, and this is from the 80s. It's not quite as old, but it's got copyrighted material on it, so let's try this out.
As I mentioned near the close of the last record, this record you are now playing is another example of the completion backward principle. If you can possibly manage the time, please play both sides with one medium.
Alright, I'm running into troubles with this adapter, the speed adapter. When I put it on, it wants to eat tapes, but when I take it off, it plays fine. Now this is for getting the high speed of the tape. So if I go here, I'm on 1 7/8, or if I go here, I'm at 3 3/4. If I put this on, this jumps up to 7.5 inches per second. I think that's how it goes. Or does it go jump up to 15? No, I think we're okay. This one here is, this tape is recorded at 3 3/4. So if I leave it there and I leave this off, it should play fine. So let's try it. And it doesn't eat tapes. Okay, can't play that for too long. Let's go to a different song. So it's all working. And it's coming through clear. The heads are clean. Everything's good. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I think we're done. As far as this spindle goes, I really don't know what to do about it. I think it's an alignment issue, something that I did measure it. It might be slightly tapered. I'm not, it's like, I don't know. I'm questioning if it's even the right one. It must be the right one. But for whatever purpose, this here, maybe there's some play in it. I don't know. Let's try this. See, it's not even the right speed. And it wants to eat the tape. So what I recommend is don't even use this sleeve, because it's just messing things up and it's giving you the wrong speed. It might be for the wrong machine. I'm not sure. Anyways, there it is. All right. I'm going to wrap this up, so take care. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Danger has come.